Hello, Margaret Kuhlman here of Soul Astrology. This new moon in Leo, not far from Venus, who's retrograding in Leo. Leo is ruled by the Sun, the heart of the solar system. Leo represents the heart radiating from the centre of ourselves. Venus, travelling through Leo, whether forwards or backwards, is focusing us on how heartful we are in our relating. And as she retrogrades, we are having all kinds of input from the past. Memories of people we bump into, information we read that inadvertently triggers memories. All sorts of the past. And not so much what's out there, that doesn't matter so much. It's what we are inside, what we have been, the way we have been relating. And the retrogradness, as she retrogrades towards the Sun, was bringing all of that to a conclusion. As she meets the Sun, the conjunction, and that was on the 13th of August, so we've just had it. It was the death of the old, an opportunity to let go of how we have been. And with that letting go, letting it be the way it was, no criticism, just history, we become open and clear and empty to receive the truth of who we are, of how our heart really feels, of what we really value and what we would like there to be there. So from last Sunday, Venus is still retrograde, still examining the past, but with a view to seeing how it might be now. What's left? What have we learned? What do we now understand about others, about our relationships with them? And this new moon is focusing on that area. So in the chart, the position of the new moon is very important. It trines Chiron, Venus particularly trining Chiron. We are focused on our own lack of self-worth that may have provoked our previous behaviour, and the pains in others, the way we may have behaved that triggered pain in others. The squares, the red lines to Jupiter and Uranus, tend to increase the experience. Our job is not to let it overwhelm us, not to let ourselves feel overwhelmed. Overwhelm tends to happen when there's an attempt to control, when we feel that our survival boundaries are being crossed. In truth, we're surviving very well. These are constructed boundaries from past habits and conditioning. These we still have to relax, to allow the enormous experiences that we may be feeling to flow in, through and out. We hold the hands open so that whatever belongs to us can stay there, and everything else can fall through and flow away. A wonderful time for gathering new information and old information that we may have forgotten but would like to use. As Jupiter and Uranus are connecting so nicely, those trines, blue lines, to Mercury and Mars in Virgo, we will be wanting to use whatever we find, put it to good use, to help ourselves organise our own lives, but to help others as well. And a pattern which is going to be extremely noticeable over the next 2 or 3 years is the rest of that grand trine that Mars and Mercury are connecting to. Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. They're all near or at the end of the signs they're in, which are earth and water. And over the next 2 years, all three will shift into air and fire. This is the great change that astrologers have been looking to. It lifts the energy into greater speed of assimilation. It's been fast, it's been happening, but it's been difficult to assimilate. But at this time, I want to say, with the Mercury and Mars making such a good connection, it's as though we can see that there may actually be value in the changes that are coming. There may be something really good. An opportunity is to be more positive about the future in recognizing the value. And Uranus, being part of that pattern, is very much encouraging us to let go, let go, let go. Let it be different. Let differences be okay rather than fearful. Let yourself be free. Neptune opposing the Mercury-Mars suggests a certain confusion. There's so much. It's so enormous. It's about all that is, not just the universe on the practical level, but all that is, that the universe is made of. Difficult to get one's head around it, if not impossible, especially with understanding on a mental level. Let go. Let it be. Let it transform itself as it is doing. And Mercury is precisely quincunx Chiron. So it is very much about understanding how each person, being an individual, actually adds to the whole. That it's beneficial for community to be made of many, many different individuals. By the full moon, Mars will have gone into Libra, and Mercury already will be retrograde. Mercury begins to retrograde for its 20 days on the 23rd of August, which is the same time that the Sun moves into Virgo. All that emphasis on self-expression and going from the heart all fades back a bit in terms of love for the whole, love for community, love for the smooth and accurate flow of life, natural, growthful, allowing, and moving with that growth in appropriate ways. The moon opposite the Sun has just been over Saturn that same day, the 31st of August, making its way through Pisces. So it's as though we do actually accept the spiritual laws as opposed to the laws of the land or the rules that we have to follow because authority figures have said so. These rules are those which innerly we know, we understand. They make sense in terms of life's fulfillment, everyone's satisfaction, everyone and everything, the earth itself. It's shifting our focus very, very much into the wholeness of life and being content to be part of it. Mercury is going back over where it was at the new moon. It's on the same place, same understandings, but retrograde, which is making those understandings relevant to our inner path. It's very clearly indicating the coming together of our understanding that the inner path actually is work towards the whole, inner and outer being governed by the same principles. In the material world, they're governed by different principles. In the spiritual world, it's the same principles. Venus is still retrograde and will continue retrograde until the 4th of September. She continues in Leo until we're well into October. Several weeks still to understand, appreciate and love from the heart. This last few days I've been learning quite a lot about Venus retrograde and generally its movement. I hadn't realised before that it's closest to the Earth when it's retrograde. There are all kinds of archetypal stories around Venus being taken into the underworld or choosing to go into the underworld, depending whether we're looking at Persephone or Inanna. And the fundamental change that happens there, and how changed she is when she comes back out. It's as though there is an acknowledging of those things in ourselves that we'd really rather not have, but just acknowledging that they're there and recognising that liking them or not liking them is really irrelevant. It's being ourselves is the best that we can do. It's what our spirit requires of us in order that it can flow through and into this life. So when she comes back out, it's a mature loving, which one might say a more spiritual loving, more open, without possessiveness, because of knowing that all is one, and love links, it doesn't divide. And the snippet about whether she's the morning star or the evening star at any particular time. Personalities that were born when there was a morning star are slightly different from when there was an evening star. Maybe it has to do with whether we love ourselves most easily or love other people most easily. Neither is better. We need both. But morning or evening star maybe indicates which one we need to work on most. So love yourself. Love your life. Love life everywhere. Thank you. Love. Accept. Allow. Beauty. Warmth of spirit. Peace. All this is always accessible to you. Open your heart as you breathe life in. Open your being as you breathe yourself out. Nothing that you truly love can be taken from you. Focus on this, and you will let go your grip and grow well. Change is breathing, one breath after another, never the same breath, always new. Nothing can remain the same. Allow. Accept. Love.